Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for the third and final part of the Q&As. So let's go ahead and get this started. All right, first question. Hi Jason, I am a 42-year-old guy. I've been squatting and deadlifting for 3 years. I squat 110 pounds, deadlift 485 pounds for a few reps. I'm having an operation on my foot in January, so will not be able to do either lower body exercises. I will still train my upper body the best I can. My question is, what would be the fastest way to get my numbers back? When my foot is healed, as I am under no illusion, I will lose lower body strength. And at 42, it will be harder and longer to get back my leg strength. Keep up the good information you're promoting. You always throw out good advice. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's going to be hard to get it back, but you need to remember, muscle memory is real. And here's what I'm going to say. Keep your core and your back and everything else as strong as possible. Now, you know that you're not going to be able to do much stuff with your feet, but what can you do? You can be able to do weighted crunches. You'll be able to do tons of weighted pull-ups, bench presses, all of these things, right? All these exercises that don't require you to stand on your foot. Do as much of them as you can possibly handle. Go ahead and push yourself. Try to make progress on them, because if you build all of that, like, you get stronger at your weighted pull-ups and weighted chin-ups. You get stronger at your bench press. Get stronger at some weighted dips. Some dips might be harder with the foot. Get as strong as you can on all these exercises. Hell, even chest-supported rows. Do whatever you have to do. Anything to make progress on your back, your chest. Do weighted crunches. Lay down, get a plate over. Do tons of weighted crunches. Push yourself on all these exercises. See if you can progress. Get your upper body strong. Make sure your core is strong, your back is strong. That's what's going to help you come back the best, because then your legs are going to be the weak link. The only thing that's going to hold you back at that point is going to be leg development and strength. And if all the other support musculature is in place, your abs, your back, everything else is as strong as humanly possible going back into it, it's going to help you, because then you're just going to have to worry about your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, and all that catching back up. And they'll come back a lot faster if you go through the trouble to do all that. Put a lot of focus on those other exercises. Really train them hard. And that's what's going to help you come back. And then ease back into it slowly. You've got to ease back into it slowly as you're able to. But the stronger everything else is, other than the muscles that you're worried about the most, the easier it's going to be to come back, right? You can see it as some time to put some extra progress on your upper body and your bench and your pull-ups and all that stuff, right? Make it happen. All right, next question. What's your advice for the over 40 crowd who are getting close to hitting our last PR? It's inevitably going to happen to all. So I'm just curious as to how you plan to deal with it from a mental aspect. Yeah, you get all these silly ass kids who are going to say, oh, that's not true. Being over 40 doesn't matter. And it's like, really? Then why do all the over 40 guys, why aren't they the ones setting the records in the open powerlifting classes? In other words, why is it when you go look at the non-drug tested lifts, like go look at the 198 weight class, the 220 class, all this stuff, go look at the non-drug tested guys in the Masters 1, right? The 40 to 45, right? 40 to 44. Some of their lifts are 200 and 300 pounds less than the records in the open. Meaning there are 30-year-old guys who lift at the same body weight, have world records that are 200 pounds heavier in some cases. And you're going to tell me that that doesn't matter. If you guys were right and it doesn't matter, then there would be plenty of 600 and 700 pound squatters in their 40s in the 198, in the 220, right? They would be there. They're not. They're not. Because age matters. How do you deal with it mentally? Set age category PRs. So you look at it and say, okay, you come in your 40s. Say you're 42. You may not ever hit the best deadlift you hit at 35. Now you might, because you might not be at your potential. You might be below the world level still for your age class, and you can still have some building to do, okay? So you look back and say, okay, this was the best lift in my 30s. You need to have in your 40s PRs. And you need to have your over 45 PRs. You go back and you look at those PRs of saying, what is the best lifts I can hit in each age category? Sports break it down pretty well. Go look at how the sports break down the age categories, and you set your own personal PR categories based upon that. And say, okay, this is my 51 or my 50 to 54 PRs coming up, right? And you set your numbers based upon that. You adjust your PRs based upon your age category. I do that. I say, this is the heaviest lift on X exercise I have hit in my 40s, right? Since turning 40. And I look at it that way. I know I will never squat what I hit in my 20s. Not without bulking up really, really fat, because otherwise I'd be a world record holder. So, you know, you have to look at it from that perspective. Base it on age category. Keep pushing yourself. Keep moving forward. All right, next question. Hey, Jason, do you think that power shrugs done with a double overhand or hook grip will fix imbalances caused by deadlifting with a mixed grip in the long run? What the actual F? Dude, all right, you're going to have to be a seriously, seriously weak guy with a really strong grip to even be considering this. You can't power shrug with a double overhand or a mixed grip. I mean, if you're really weak, like if you think, you know, a 200-pound power shrug is a serious lift, then maybe. If you're doing power shrug, if you're strong enough to be doing power shrug, you're going to be power shrugging 500, 600, 700 pounds, right? Nobody power shrugs 300 pounds that I'm aware of. You should just be doing strict work. You shouldn't be worrying about stuff like that, like assistance movements, accessory movements, like a power shrug until you're really strong. And in which case, you're not going to be able to grip that. You have to do power shrugs with straps. Even the guys I know who deadlift 600 and 700 pounds raw who do power shrugs use straps for the power shrugs because you power shrug more than your max deadlift. So you're going to hook grip or double overhand grip for reps more than your max 1 rep max on a deadlift? Are you serious? No, you fix the imbalances from the mixed grip by doing your hook grip, by using straps, by using double overhand on your deadlifts. Do it on your normal exercises, right? Do it on the normal exercise. Power shrug's not going to fix it. Oh man, and you're definitely not going to do power shrugs with a double overhand grip or a hook grip. It's not going to happen. You better have an insane grip to pull that off. I don't know people like that personally. Maybe you do, I don't. All right, next question. If you take, let's say, a 6 months break from lifting and start lifting again, would you benefit from higher than normal protein intake since you would be regaining muscle faster? No. Why would you? Like, how much actual protein do you think actually goes to building muscle? I want you to really think about that. Protein has anabolic signaling. Protein has muscle sparing benefits, but you're thinking because you're already going to get the anabolic signal from the training and from the muscle memory and from the change in the old satellite cells and everything going on, right? How much protein do you think is actually used to build muscle in an average day? A couple grams? The most extreme, what, 3, 4, 5 grams, maybe? Of all the protein you eat actually goes to building muscle, ever. So just because you can gain muscle back a little bit quicker, right? A little bit quicker, you can basically almost replicate noob gains for a little while again. Do noobs need to add an extra 100 grams of protein a day to gain muscle? Not really. So if you're back to gaining muscle like a noob does again, which is what will happen with muscle memory, you'd probably be gaining a couple pounds of muscle a month. It's not going to be as fast as you think it is. And it's certainly not going to justify adding another 100 grams of protein or anything crazy. You're going to probably gain enough extra muscle to add a single gram of protein a day, which you would get from a bite of an apple. Or, 3 spoonsful of milk. This is not a serious amount of protein. Don't overthink this stuff. Get in and train and eat. All right, next question and last question of the week. If someone builds a base while on gear and then trains and eats properly when they come off, will they keep their base? Yeah, usually, if they train properly. Most guys who go on gear never learn to train correctly in the first place. I've covered this in the past. They do a bunch of fluff and pump. In my experience, a bunch of high rep isolation work, you will deflate like a balloon when you come off gear. You'll fall back to whatever you can create with tension as far as your strength goes. All right? That's what seems to happen. All these ideas about hypertrophy go out the window when you come off gear. Literally, your strength base is what determines how much you keep. You'll keep a lot of it. Yeah, you'll keep a lot of it. Because what you need to remember, there is no such thing as lifetime natty versus not lifetime natty. You have either used gear or you have not. All right. Once you have done gear, we know this based upon the research, there are some permanent changes in your muscles that you keep for years and years and years. There's a certain muscle memory type component that exists after you come off, due to, again, changes in satellite cell, muscle cell nuclei density, things like that. Those things change permanently. Like, we can muscle biopsy people and see who's used steroids in the past. That's why drug testing is stupid. Just muscle biopsies will actually tell you if someone's used or not. We got good research on this, but it's too invasive. They're not going to do it. That would beat any drug test known to man. You can tell that someone came off 3 years ago. There are permanent changes. So yeah, you're going to be a different animal. You will have an advantage pretty much indefinitely as long as you were to train hard and train correctly. Yeah, that's how it works. That's reality. The guys who deflate relied completely on drugs and never learned shit about training, and they do body part splits and cable exercises, right? That's the guys who deflate. Guys who do really serious strength-based training oftentimes keep almost all of their size when they come off. When they come off of a cycle. It happens a lot. You sometimes can barely tell that they came off. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.